Hare Krishna, Gauranga. Welcome to another Casey on the Go with myself, JD. Just wanted to share a few thoughts from some of the reading that I've been doing recently. I just scooped the Nectar of Book Distribution from my shelf, from my spiritual library. If anybody caught that little talk the other day. And I was reading it, and instantly, of course, I was just enthused. Like, I was just like, wow, I was buzzing, you know. If it didn't happen to be like almost nearly 10 o'clock at night, I'd probably be strapping the bag on and ready to go, you know. But yeah, the devotee was, because obviously the Nectar of Book Distribution is a series of quotes from the book distributors from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and the early 2000s. So it's a lot of the most legendary faces in Sankirtan. And one of them was saying how the often quoted point is that the books are making the devotees themselves. The books, you know, they may go into someone's hands, fall out of that person's ownership into someone else who's meant to take it up, and that person becomes a devotee. And there's so many unbelievable situations where that has happened. One, just to give you all some nectar, other than listening to me, is one was that basically a person had got a book from the distributor in the street, and then he trekked up the side of a mountain. He was up mountain climbing, and he met a person who had basically just, you know, one of these kind of ascetics type of people, and he thought, you know, I'm fed up with material life, I'm going off to live up in the mountain. This wasn't in India, this was in, like, you know, the Andes or something like that in South America. And then he found this person, he got chatting with them, and they were chilling out and talking out in the cave, and he said, oh, you know, you're doing a really special thing, I want to give you a present. He says, I got this from one of these Hare Krishnas in the street, and he gave him the Krishna book. That person who was living up there in the mountains read the book and came running down the mountain and joined a Hare Krishna temple and ended up becoming a book distributor and, you know, living the life of a full devotee. So that is just unbelievable, you know. But it's believable only because we know that the Srimad Bhagavatam and these books are Krishna themselves. And the devotees, you know, under the orders of their spiritual masters and Srila Prabhupada, are representing Krishna. So everything can happen. Yeah. So another amazing point was that we sometimes say, you know, playing devil's advocate or feeling a little bit of lack of faith, or maybe we've been blown out. You know, Sankirtan's not an easy service. You're going out there, you suddenly realize how hot your preaching skills actually are when suddenly you're being questioned by atheists, other religious groups, by just loads of no's, by grumpy people, by abusive people, by all kinds of people. And, you know, the weather, and, you know, you're just the tiredness of the body, the age of the body, whatever it is, you know, all these different things all factored in together can sometimes blow you out a little bit, you know, and that's the truth. Let's make sure it's understood that it can sometimes happen like that. But anyway, so that part aside, you know, if you have got to that kind of stage and you think, oh, what if this is the topmost service and this is the most effective way to spread the Krishna consciousness movement, how is it that we don't have so many devotees? Well, one thing is that Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that even out of those who do take to this process, not everybody understands it, right? And he said that in Dwapar Yuga, right? This is Kali Yuga, and in Kali Yuga everybody is lazy, misguided, and always disturbed. So there's not really many qualified people out there for taking to Krishna consciousness, but we have one very special, we have actually several special tools behind us that makes things rapid progression. Because you imagine, and I'm going to try and give you an idea here, that you can imagine someone like the famous J.K. Rowling. So she, of course, wrote the Harry Potter books. So it was kind of said that she was sitting in some cafe, you know, just some like train station cafe, I think it was, something like that, you know. And she's just sitting there and she's just coming up with the idea. So she'd had a very valuable tool at her disposal, was determination. She had another valuable tool at her disposal, which would have been a little bit of, good karma and some artistic expression and so on. So there was some abilities there, God-given abilities, you could say. So she's sitting there, she's doing her thing, the inspiration comes, and there you go, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. But that's it. She didn't have any understanding that it was all going to blow up. She didn't know that. She had a hope. Maybe, I don't know if she's religious. I've never heard that she was religious. Maybe she prayed. I don't know. But she had that determination, and she had a little bit of hope maybe, and she had some inspiration. And she wrote it. She had the artistic ability. She wrote the book. And the book, of course, is, huge sellers, movies, millions and millions of pounds in this thing. But that's it. But the devotee that goes out on the street and faces all those opposing elements that we mentioned, behind them, they have the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who came to spread the Sankirtan movement in Kali Yuga. He passed that mission on to his devotees, Haridas Thakur and so on and so forth, Lord Nityananda, and they were going around door to door. And in those teachings in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is our highest Siddhanta, it's saying that this going around from door to door and preaching the holy names of Krishna in the form of literature is samadhi, is full Krishna conscious experience, full Krishna conscious absorption. So you have the Lord behind you. Now if that's not enough, come down to the next stage, the empowered acharyas. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, before going on his mission and taking Krishna consciousness all over India and conquering India and opening so many Gaudiya Maths and opening printing presses and doing all these kind of things, and I listened to a class just to take a sidestep, but it really illustrates the point. As Keshav Swami was saying, that basically, an acharya, a guru is a person who has disciples. An acharya has disciples who become, who in themselves become acharyas who make more disciples. So this is actually an acharya is so empowered that he creates a whole entire parampara system in that sense. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur went off and chanted 1,000,000 names, and then goes on to, just completely conquer India, defeating all these atheists and so on and so forth. And and his mood was that the printing press to print literatures was, a fully Krishna conscious activity, and that one of the highest things that he desired was that books go out. Never mind temples, I want books. And that's the first thing that he said to his disciple, Srila Prabhupada: you're educated, translate the books into English and take it across to the Western world. So we all talk about how much we love Srila Prabhupada and how much Srila Prabhupada has changed our lives, and this thing, we wouldn't be here without him, and so on and so forth. So Srila Prabhupada wants it. And it's about 3 or 4 of the tenets of the 7, ISKCON purposes is all about book distribution. So again, on that level, this is the mission. So behind us we have a mission, we have an order. In fact, even more than that, Srila Prabhupada, he ordered, but he requested. This is my request. Go to every town and village, go to every city centre, all around the world, and distribute and print my books. That is my request. Yeah. So above saying that we have the mission from the Lord, we have the order of the acharyas, we have the request of Srila Prabhupada. And again, even beyond that, behind us, we have knowledge. As devotees, we've been practicing, we've been reading these books. Rohini Sutta Prabhu, who was at the time of this Nectar of Book Distribution, was one of our ISKCON gurus and so on and so forth, and is still a wonderful Prabhupada disciple to this day. He said that, the books, and sometimes we also say that the kind of comment comes in, these books are too advanced to go out there. Who's going to understand them? Yeah, maybe. That's probably true. In one sense, yes. who will understand them. But the idea is that they take the book, and if we can meet up with them and encourage them, we can bring them into the devotional association, which then expands the understanding of the book. But for some people, it may just be that just the taking of the book into their hands is this what they can get at this point. So either way, with all those things behind us, with all those tools at our disposal, the mission of the Lord, the desire, the request, the order, the empowerment of the acharyas and the spiritual masters, the knowledge of reading the books, chanting the names, and feeling the change in our lives, with all that behind us, the next step is grab the bag, fill it up, and get out there when you can. Take the nectar, it's right there, you know. Now, I'm as guilty as everyone of not getting out there as much. I remember being a brahmachari and being out there full-time, 6 days a week, you know, living the life, traveling all over the world and distributing books in different countries and this thing. And then, you know, getting married, and then, you know, going out once a week, maybe twice, you know, and then before you know, like once in a month, and then once in a blue moon, and then, you know, you have kids and this and that. But the idea is keep the connection to it, you know, have that desire. And then maybe one day, you know, Krishna will say, okay, you can go back out there again, you know, because it takes a different level of consciousness. You know, we have to distribute books. His Holiness Bhakti-Vikas Maharaj, I also had a fantastic lecture from him, and he said, you know, we have to distribute the books in the spiritual consciousness. On the transcendental platform, we distribute books, not on the material platform. Certainly up to a certain degree, one can distribute books with comedy, with attraction, with looks and clothes and height, or, you know, whatever it is, you know, that you have, material assets, you know, the witty comeback and the witty this thing, and, you know, the certain way that you signal them to you when you come down the street. But that only lasts for so long. And if you continue to think that that's the way that you're distributing books, then you enter into the material platform, and then in comes the attachment to the results, in comes the disappointment, in comes the rejection when people say no, and so on and so forth. And then you think, whoa, this is not happening, you know. But if you stay in the spiritual atmosphere, book distribution truly is samadhi. Book distribution truly is the most blissful service and the most effective way to spread Krishna consciousness, because we cannot say, you know, that the results do not speak for themselves. And we also cannot say that, oh, well, we've failed in these countries because no one's become devoted. We haven't distributed the maximum amount of books in all these countries in the world. UK, yes, you know, devotees are well recognized in the UK, but the country is not saturated with books. America is, you know, the book distribution is still very successful there, but it is not saturated. India is not saturated, you know. Spain used to have a blow up at one point, and then Argentina at one point, and Japan at one point, and this place at one point, that place. Germany had its heyday, Russia had its thing, some other place had its thing, but they are not fully maxed out and fully saturated with books. So until that point has reached, then we can say, well, actually, now people have got sets, people have got libraries, people are reading them, people are coming to the sanghas. Oh my God, we've done it, you know. But we still have so much work to do and so much available to us, you know. So that means we can, and it's when we can, you know. And it's another seminar to get into. We're not at that stage yet where, you know, I don't want to go down the route of going into a whole other thing and saying that, okay, we have to, you know, go into full-on how to do it practicalities seminar, you know. But at least actually one thing I can kind of drop in there as the last final point is that it can be done by householders, because you don't have to go out 5 days a week on the street for 8 hours a day. You can go out, you know, with your kids on a Saturday, and the kids like it. The kids can run around. Kids are the most powerful book distribution weapon. Kids are great. People take books from the kids, and you know, they can't say no. They just give them donations. Kids do bigger than everybody else, you know, because they're kids, you know. So that's one thing. And then, of course, you know, if they find the streets is too much, do the doors. If the doors is too much, do the businesses. If the businesses is too much, do something else. But either way, you know, there is no excuse to say that we can't do it, you know. And that's the thing. And of course, I have to take my own advice, because naturally I have to find that way to do it as well, you know. So these are the points for today. It's, you know, understanding that book distribution is the most effective, but that takes time and it takes a strong desire. So, yeah, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Gaura Premanandi Hari.